Mike Buchfuhrer from Fire. Mike, welcome into the Stick and Hack Show. We're going to change topics and get to something people care about quickly because that, sir, nobody cared about. I could tell. Mike, welcome into the show. Good to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so Fire, the quick, down and dirty. Tell us about what you do. You're in California. First of all, thank you for getting up this morning and battling the 405, I can assume, or the 5 or whatever other ridiculous roads you have out there, and being on the show. Tell us about Fire. How long you guys been in business? What do you guys do?
We started in 2013, and we make golf club covers and accessories. Something that sets us apart, we're more of a manufacturer. You know, a lot of the companies out there, they're golfers, kind of know what they like. Try to figure out how to make it. We're a lot more involved in the manufacturing. That's kind of our thing.
So sometimes a company name is just that. It's just a company name. It's a Yahoo. It's a Google. It's an Amazon. It doesn't really mean anything. Sometimes it does. Yours is a legacy. Fire comes from generation and your grandmother. Tell me where Fire came from and the legacy that your company is trying to build.
Yeah, well, Rose was my grandmother, and she was kind of the matriarchal designer of the family. After World War II, she designed hats. My uncles made clothes. You know, growing up, I was around his factory. My cousin has a denim company, so kind of a lot of designers in the family. You know, making different things, and I just happened to pursue golf. So.
Nice, that's awesome.
Was golf in your blood, or was design in your blood?
I'd say design was in my blood. Golf is a passion, though. It's something, I came to started golfing in 2007 and just kind of saw an opportunity. You know, a lot of what was out there, particularly with putters, because actually before this, I had a putter company and I would design putters, and we needed to make head covers for the putters, and everything out there was vinyl and just, not very exciting, and it was kind of the same thing over and over again, really one note. So what I did was I actually took real leather and I was hand branding it for the putter company. That's kind of what got me started. And I saw all the different things we could do, and in order to do that, I needed to start Fire. So that's actually kind of
that's awesome.
How the whole thing began.
Do you feel a connection to each piece? I mean, it appears like to me when I look at what you have on the website is, each piece has a connection to you personally in some way. Like how do you go through that design process, and where do you kind of get your ideas?
Well, yeah, I mean, everything we send out, is a Fire product that, comes with a promise, it's going to function, it's going to be the highest quality you can get, all that stuff. And I want to make sure that every person, I don't really see what we're selling as much of a physical product as an experience. I want everyone to have a great experience, have something they can enjoy. If we send something out and it's, exactly what the customer ordered, but it's the wrong thing, like we're going to figure it out. At the end of the day, I just want to make sure that everyone's happy. So, there's a personal connection to the piece, a personal connection to the customer. There's kind of a relationship that you're building around the head covers and providing someone with that happiness in that little way that we can.
Yeah, that's great.
So let me ask you this, because we've got I've got a buddy who has this. He has head covers, and he buys a new one about every time right before he golfs because he loses it on the course. Are you thinking? Is there a possibility of a tracker that you could put inside the head covers just so that they don't lose them? Is that in your future, sir?
This is not something I had thought of prior to this.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Maybe you should get a patent,
Already done.
I don't know.
Already done.
Already done.
I'll license it back to you.
I was going to say, I'll get my attorney in touch with you. We'll do a licensing deal. We'll sew it into all the covers.
No attorneys. We'll just a handshake deal right here. It's fine. In front of everybody. Not a problem. Your facility isn't flashy. It's a manufacturing plant, and it doesn't feel, golf centric and this cool, flashy, hip age manufacturing plant. It's people making head covers and hand making them and the craftsmanship there, but there's something very authentic because you're on social media a lot, you're on the Instagram stories, you're doing a lot of different things, showcasing, hey, here's this person, here we're making this. You are authentic if you're nothing else. Is that part of the secret of Fire?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely nailed it. We're kind of the opposite of what you see nowadays for the most part. What you're seeing is places that really focus on design, and then however it's made, 6,000 miles away, they're not worried about it. Yeah. We're intimately involved in the entire process, and we have nothing to hide, so I want to show it all. And it's just very simple and understandable, and something, I could work with anyone on a head cover, and it's going to be made, just feet away from where I'm sitting. So that's, it's something we can offer that I think is harder and harder to come by these days.
Yeah.
So I think it's refreshing for people.
Your product is, it's not a giveaway. It's not cheap. It is built for the golfer that wants to have something that they're prideful for. Do you have anything that you can show us just from a sample perspective, so for the video people, they know what we're even talking about here?
Oh yeah, sure. So this is a cover we got coming up, a breast cancer cover. As you can see, all this leather is made in USA with a tannery that we work really closely with. On the back, here's actually something kind of interesting. I don't know if you see that.
Yeah.
There's a zigzag stitch on the elastic. Zigzags back and forth. It holds the elastic down better and then puts less stress on the thread. And I'm not aware of any U.S. manufacturer that does that except for us. And 30 years ago, 40 years ago, maybe 50 now,
yeah,
all the companies did it because it requires a special machine. The machines are old. It takes up space. So with American manufacturing getting scaled back, stuff like that has kind of gone away. It's trying to bring stuff like that back.
Awesome.
And also another thing we don't talk about too often, but we're getting into the weeds a little bit here. We use nylon thread, like really heavy duty nylon thread on these. So nothing's going to happen to them.
Yeah.
A lot of little things like that you won't get when you make something overseas. Don't worry about the thread,
Yeah. And so, Mike, I've been a fan of your guys' products for a while, but everything on your website I love, but have you ever designed anything that you thought was going to be awesome and it turned out to just kind of be like a dud?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Some putter covers come to mind for sure. Some wacky shaped putter covers come to mind. Yeah, definitely come out with some stuff that was a little weird, or maybe like I got a little too
Get a little abstract with it. Yeah.
into my own head on the design. Because since we started kind of working with customers more, that hasn't happened as much. But I have bad ideas all the time.
So he's Mike Buchfuhrer from Rose and Fire, and CEO, founder, and designer. Custom head covers, as well as many other apparel, or not apparel, but accessories for golf. Even wallets. I saw some wallets on your site. I mean, you have some really, really cool things. But your company and the name of course is a huge influence. Your grandmother Rose, which ironically is also my grandmother's name was Rose. It was a big influence in the 40s and 50s in high class design and bringing that sense of craftsmanship and a sophistication and a coolness to hats. You are now bringing that same thing to hats for clubs. See what I did, Mike?
I have nothing to say about that. That is the worst.
No, I disagree. I think
or is it the best?
I think that was probably one of the better lines in
All right,
16
fine.
episodes that I've ever had.
All right, fine. I'll give it to you.
So, Mike, there's not a question there. I'm just simply stating you make hats for clubs, and your grandmother made hats. That's where we're at.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. I couldn't have put it better myself.
Right. Nobody could.
That's incredible.
I killed it. I think there was a question in there. Oh, yeah. Was this your overall path that you were trying to go down? Did you, when you were working with them and in those design shops and as they made their hats, did you say, wow, this is what I want to do for a living?
Yeah, I always did love and sewing too. I've sewn since I was little and making patterns and doing all that. But, you do get pushed into getting a traditional education and all that stuff and the typical career path. But, I was in law school and I was looking at, they want you to become a lawyer when you go to law school, believe it or not. And
that doesn't make any sense.
Right.
This is not for me. I can't do this. And so then I started a putter company.
Yeah.
That's how I got into golf, or the golf business, I should say.
Right.
I was starting into playing in it for.
That's awesome.
All right, so we got a write-in question here. Speaking of putters, This is from a Stick and Hack.
Right.
This is from Stick and Hack member and buddy Jason C. He writes in, "Dear Adam and Mike, love your show. You guys are the best things that ever happened to me in my entire life. Thank you again for Stick and Hack." I made all that up. This is what he asked. "Hey, Mike, when are you going to make putters again?" So he's apparently a huge fan of your putters.
Question.
So tell us about that.
I'm glad he asked, because that's kind of what determines what we do, is when I get a bunch of people asking me to do something. So we might have to do that pretty soon. That's usually a good summer item.
Yeah, I like that. And we'll have on the side, Stick and Hack logo on the side. We'll co-brand it, and we'll blow those up, and we'll get those on the PGA Tour, and then we'll all retire. Any questions?
It's got to be like a three-way collabo, because last one we did with Lamont for Handcrafted.
Oh, right.
I've heard of them. They're a small Twitter company out of Arizona. Really cool guy.
Nice.
We make some covers for them, and he's made putters for us, and they're gorgeous.
Yeah. All right.
Awesome. I love the whole like the boutique like putter scene is actually a really it's pretty big.
It's big. It's big. So I have a.
I think that's something that that could be really cool.
I have a Seymour, and I like it because nobody really knows what it is, and they're like, Sticks know what it is. They know Seymour, but they don't spend any money on the PGA. They don't even name the golfers that use their clubs on their site. They're like, hey, the number 8 golfer in the world uses Seymour, and then I got to go and look it up, and I'm like, who the hell's that?
Yeah. But
there is something very cool about that boutique and customized and truly personal experience that the putter is. You guys making those, I think there is something there that you need to bring back, because people are asking for it because you guys do such great work.
Yeah, I think we'll have to. The Seymour putters are great too. I know a lot of people who play those. The funny thing with those, though, I think a lot of people don't really use the technology on those the way it's supposed to be played. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Tell me.
I think that was a dig at
technology with the two-line.
I think that was a dig at me.
It is. It should be. Because you're terrible at golf.
It wasn't meant to be a dig.
No, it is. It's good. Don't back down from that, Mike. Go with it.
I'm not terrible at golf.
You have to lean in to the insults on Adam.
I'm not terrible at golf. I'm not the best putter. There's a huge difference.
You're bad.
All right. Do you have any?
You're bad at
do
golf,
you have a
Adam.
question? Why don't we shift this?
Do
to
I have
you?
a question?
Yeah.
I do actually. And this is kind of Adam actually told me to ask you this, Mike, and I kind of tried to shoot it down, but I'm gonna ask it anyways. How hard is your job?
Right. That's a good question.
That is a good question. There's a lot of elements to it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I enjoy. There's a lot of challenges, certainly.
Yeah.
I think I'm kind of the glue that keeps the whole factory together. A lot of people have all their independent jobs.
See, that was a good
pun.
pun. That was a good pun, Adam. He doesn't know what a good pun is. You do. So that was great.
Yeah, good job, Mike.
Glue factory. See?
When they're not working that well together, it gets a little tough. But for the most part, we try to keep things running pretty smooth. So
That's awesome.
It depends on the day.
You have the word craftsmanship is overused in most companies, right? Everyone says a handcrafted, but it really isn't. Your guys' product is handcrafted, and there's something special about that. Tell me about your team, the people that you have behind the scenes. You're the middle there, but there's a bunch of people that are putting these things together, and I've seen a lot of them on social media. They're a family, and they're part of something very, very special and very unique and very customized. What is their day like? Every day probably changing and different. They're still making the same thing, but how they go about it is probably different every time, correct?
Yeah, I mean, essentially what we do is we break down the manufacturing into operations. So let's say to make a head cover is about 20 steps. So each one's an operation. And then to make it the most efficiently, you try to maximize like the number of units you're doing for each of those operations. So they could be doing just like cutting driver covers an entire day, or just sewing on a label for 3 hours or something. But there's sort of a certain catharsis to it, when you're doing it. It's almost like gardening or something. Yeah. And then also connecting them with the customers. Like when we get feedback, reviews, people send emails in. Often I'll print those up and hand those out. Our crew really takes pride in what they do. And I think to have fulfillment, in life, you need to feel like you're making it there, even if it's just a little tiny bit.
Yeah.
But knowing that you're, making people happy and giving them a product that's better than what they would have had otherwise. And that's kind of when you see it in the product too,
Yeah.
That we're always trying to find better ways to make them, more efficiently, better, whatever we can do. And that's because we care. So that's really, I think, the difference is the caring.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's great to see a young business person, an entrepreneur. You're creating jobs, but you're also creating some awesome products that people they need, but they also it's part of their game. It's part of the experience of golf, and it's really cool to see it. The Rose and Fire name means something to you, and it now means something to our listeners and other people because they know the legacy and the story behind it, but also how you guys manufacture products is remarkable. And the new Stick and Hack head covers, which are going to be online here right after the show, they're incredible, and we're very, very proud to have you guys manufacture those for us, and we hope there's more of those types of products down the road for us because it's just really, really cool. We appreciate it.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. It's a pleasure working with you guys.
Good. All right, last question as always. When do we get to play golf with you, sir, in California? Or you come here. I don't know why you would, but let's. You live in California, right? So when do we get to play golf in California? Or when? So we have a secret event we have not announced yet, so I need to be careful here. But in the fall, we have something pretty special for Stick and Hack members that is going to be happening. Will you, not knowing any of the details, mind you, will you promise us here on the show that you'll be here for that event come hell or high water?
I guess.
Just say yes. It doesn't.
He just did.
It's fine.
He said, I guess.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
It's all the confidence in the world. Mike, don't worry. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know. All right.
Right.
He's Mike Buchfuhrer from Rose and Fire. Mike, founder, CEO, and designer. Go to roseandfire.com. Follow them online at Rose and Fire, and go get the Stick and Hack head covers here in a little bit. But anything else from Rose and Fire, amazing stuff. Mike, we appreciate your time on the show. Thank you for being on the Stick and Hack program.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Mike.
We'll talk to you soon. All right, there he goes. Rose and Fire, a proud guest here on the Stick and Hack show.
I love their products.
I didn't know their products until you.
Yeah,
and
they're awesome. They
and
make really good stuff.
They're really, really good.
Yeah.
And I think what's cool is the story behind it, but also from hey, I like golf, but I'm here for the passion of the product and of the manufacturing and the craftsmanship. So
I always love hearing the stories behind like companies like that and how they started and like what kind of the backstory is. That's always fascinating.
And he's a good dude too.
Yeah, great dude.